Hurry! I must not be late.
Uzon the Unclean, Bone Devil's Magus muttered to himself as he scurried down the inner corridor of the Gravekeeper, Nurgle, Imperiator Titan, as it marched towards a distant battlefield. Chaos Lord Razak, in his inner commander, was performing the rituals of obeisance.
Thorax and his Ultramarine loyalist dogs are just ahead. Shall I request the Princeps to attack?
You wish to deny me the glory of slaying him in combat?
No, my lord.
Uzon barges into the commander,
The hour is late, Uzon. War rages across this planet. I do not intend for the Bone Devils to miss out on the spoils. What do you want? My lord, Uzon stammered. I have been blessed with a vision from the Plague Father concerning the battle that is about to commence.
That pricked Razak's attention.
Go on. Giants of bone, wielding scythes of black iron, rising from the earth to cut down a warrior clad in blue armor. And what do you think this means, Magus?
Razak's black eyes narrowed.
I believe it to mean that we must keep a squad of Terminators in reserve, my lord, and allow them to perform the rites of interment, so when the battle is joined, they will rise from the earth and surprise our foe.
Razak gave a grunt and narrowed his eyes even further, staring at Uzon's groveling form.
Agreed. Nurgle be praised. It shall be done. Deploy the Bone Devils.
Hi, I'm Will from Sustained Fire, and this is Guerrilla War. With the Sustained Fire 2025 annual event fast approaching, Stuart and I were keen to hone our 40k second ed skills and try out some newly painted minis. We decided to play on my recently finished City Ruins terrain board, which is based on an expanded version of the card artwork that came with the 40k second edition box set. With Stuart bringing his Bone Devil Chaos Space Marines to battle my Ultramarines, I knew we were in for a fun game. Despite just painting up a squad of Devastators for this game, I couldn't bring myself to use them. Their lack of mobility is a huge hindrance, I find. To remedy this, I also painted up my Kitbash Tarantula, which my fellow Sustained Fire buddies have affectionately named Johnny 5. At just 85 points, he works out cheaper than a Devastator with the same multi-melter, yet is free to move and fire. My decision to go with 2 assault combat squads worked out perfectly for this battle, as I drew Guerrilla War. Captain Thorax will assist them in hunting down Chaos squads for some close combat action. I find if you have a problem in 2nd edition, then firing an assault cannon at it normally solves it. So I equipped 2, one for my Dreddy and one for the Terminators. If Stuart decides to bring anything tougher than that, my twin-link las cannon mounted on the Predator will be happy to blast a hole in it. Next we have a Codicire, a level 2 Psyker, and his psychic powers are the Salamander and Carmine Assassin. Tech Marine Vortan is equipped with a servo arm, targeter, and a combi weapon. My strategy cards are Strafing Run and Ambush.
You know what they say, 2 dreads are better than 1. Having just finished painting up my second Chaos Dreadnought, Brother Vorath was top of the list of models to include in my game against Will. His Power Scourge and twin heavy bolters would work wonders in cutting down those loyalist marine scum. But why should Vorath have all the fun? So I decided to include my other Dreadnought as well, Brother Toximus, armed with twin autocannons, Power Claw, and a bad attitude. Chaos Lord Razak will lead my army from the front, taking to the skies on his ancient winged jump pack. He bears the mark of Nurgle and is blessed with a noxious cloud of flies to help him get the edge in close combat. A squad of infiltrating veterans armed with melee weapons will provide support for him and help spearhead the assault. The main core of my army is made up of a squad of 8 Plague Marines and a squad of 4 Chaos Terminators. The Terminators are equipped with 2 Reaper autocannons, the perfect thing for cutting down those boys in blue. They'll be screened by a squad of Cultists and 3 bases of Nurglings. Lastly, my Chaos Magus champion, Uzon the Unclean, will provide psychic support. Uzon has the powers Machine Curse and the Gate. For my mission, I drew Guerrilla War, and the Barrage and Reinforcement strategy cards.
The Predator roared around the intersection with its treads grinding stone to dust as its turret swiveled with machine precision. Through the targeting reticle, the gunner spied a coven of Chaos Cultists skulking amongst the crumbling ruins. With a thunderous bark, the heavy bolters fired, detonating 2 heretics in showers of gore. But as the righteous barrage continued, one of the weapons ground to a halt and jammed. The Predator's las cannons blazed, twin lances of searing energy stabbing towards a corrupted dreadnought lumbering in the distance. But the shots veered wide, carving molten scars into the ruins. "Brother Vortan!" the Predator's gunner voxed with barely contained frustration. "Have your maintenance rituals faltered? The machine's spirit grows wrath." With the ground quaking beneath its advance, the Ultramarine dreadnought Tauritus strode through the ruins of the desecrated cathedral. Servos groaned as the assault cannon spun up, a metallic scream precedenting the storm of mass reactive rounds. 2 Chaos Cultists instantly drop, shredded as explosive bolts tear through their wretched flesh. Its Storm Bolter attempts to fire, but instantly jams. The Tarantula and Tech Marine Vortan follow behind, but their view is blocked by the hulking form of the dreadnought. The Terminators in the central crossroads fire their Storm Bolters with rapid fire. 5 of the Cultists instantly fall from the hail of bolter fire. The assault cannon joins the barrage, only to jam twice. "Vortan, is this the best you can muster? I will personally offer you to the chaplain for penance." By Captain Thorax's order, the Assault Marine squad ignite their jump packs, engines howling as they hurtle towards the Chaos veterans lurking behind the ruined cathedral. However, they were outmatched, with 3 Assault Marines falling to the Chaos veterans' power axes. Only Captain Thorax held firm, his power fist crackling as he tore through one of the traitors, pulping the ancient warrior in a single devastating blow with his power fist. With plenty of warp activity at hand, the Codicire launches Carmine Assassin and crushes one of the veteran Chaos Marines. The Chaos Magus champion responds, opening the gate right next to the other Assault Marine squad. The Codicire creates a monstrous spectral creature, a salamander, and it shoots forward, slaying the remaining Chaos Cultist. But Magus lets loose Machine Curse on the Assault Marines next to the gate he had just summoned. Despite the Ultramarines taking the first turn, it's clear that the Bone Devils are under the protection of Nurgle himself, with multiple misses, jams, and the charging assault squad taking heavy losses from the Chaos Space Marines. Chaos Lord Razek powers up his jump pack and cuts through the sky like a nightmarish carrion bird, landing behind cover on the left flank and positioning himself to help propel the advance of the Assault Marines and the Ultramarine captain next turn. A rictus grin splits across Razek's gaunt face as he watches his veterans cut down the last of the Assault Marines, leaving only Captain Thorax still standing. In the center, the Chaos Terminators, Plague Marines, and Brother Vorath advance across the bloody bodies of the cultists towards the Ultramarine Terminators and open fire. As the assault gun wielder desperately attempts to clear his jammed weapon, he is torn apart by the Reaper autocannons of the Chaos Terminators. The bolt guns of the Plague Marines bounce harmlessly off the thick Terminator armor, but the plasma gun burns through and incinerates the Marine within. Meanwhile, Chaos Magus Uzon the Unclean laughs maniacally to himself as a noxious tide of Nurglings charges through the gate he has opened, straight into the second combat squad of Assault Marines. With the bolt pistols of the Marines now useless due to the machine curse Uzon has laid on them, the Nurglings gain the edge in combat and manage to overwhelm one of the Loyalists with their diseased claws and fangs. In the psychic phase, Uzon removes the machine curse from the Assault Marines, hoping to use it again to disable the Ultramarines dreadnought that is quickly advancing towards the Bone Devil's lines. Another veteran Chaos Marine is crushed by Carmen Assassin, summoned by the Codicil, and just as Uzon is about to place Machine Curse on the Ultramarines dreadnought, all psychic power is sucked away from the battlefield by an energy drain, leaving Uzon spitting and gnashing his rotten teeth. Dreadnought Octoritus thundered forward, his ancient adamantium frame grinding against the shattered remains of the cathedral ruins. He activated his assault cannon, the weapon's barrel shrieking to full spin before unleashing a storm of mass reactive rounds. One of the traitorous Terminators was torn apart, detonating in a burst of ruptured armor and shredded flesh. Nearby, the Predator advanced down the street, its immense bulk shattering security fencing as though it were paper. The twin-link las cannons blazed, searing the street with incandescent light, but the shots streaked wide, melting craters into the ruined structures beyond. Undeterred, the heavy bolter fired massed rounds, and 2 Chaos Terminators fell, their corrupted armor punctured, their wretched forms reduced to ruin. The Ultramarine Terminators rapid fire their storm bolters, yet their mass shots are unable to damage the thick armor plating of the remaining Chaos Terminators. Captain Thorax turned to face the Chaos Lord Razak and spat back. "Still clinging to your precious codex, Thorax? Pathetic. Your corpse god cannot save you." Captain Thorax, his blood burning with righteous fury, triggered his jump pack. The roaring engines propelled him toward the Chaos Lord in a streak of blue and white. Mid-flight, he injected a dose of Frenzon into his bloodstream, the combat stimulant flooding his senses with raw aggression. He crashed into the Chaos Lord like a thunderbolt, his power fist crackling with cage lightning. Blow after crushing blow rained down, the ceramite of the traitor's armor buckling under the relentless onslaught. The Chaos Lord staggered, 2 grievous wounds carved into his wretched form. Captain Thorax steadied himself, leveling his gaze at the faltering heretic.
"You kneel to demons. I stand for the Imperium."
In the center of the city, the fight between the Assault Marines and the Nurglings rages on, with the Nurglings suffering another wound. The Codicil unleashes Carmine Assassin at the Chaos Lord Razak, but is unable to wound him. The Magus responds with the Gate and Machine Curse, but the Codicil is able to null both of these psychic abilities thanks to his psychic hood. The Servitor hunkers down into Overwatch in anticipation of the Chaos Lord Toximus revealing himself. With his brothers dead at the hands of the Space Marine captain and crushed by the psychic might of the Codicil, the last of the veteran Chaos Space Marines slinks into the Ultramarines' back line and spies a deadly multi-melter mounted on a tarantula with a single Servitor crew, a Tech Marine, and the hated Codicil all lurking behind the ruins. He activates his ancient Voxcaster and signals coordinates to the swift Death Fighter patrolling the skies from above. Seconds later, a barrage of missiles rains down, but misses the Ultramarines entirely. The veteran curses. "Must I do everything myself?" he says and strides forward, with bolt pistol raised and roaring round after round, tearing into the mechanical body of the Tech Marine. "If 10,000 years of fighting the Long War has taught me anything, is that the only weapon more reliable than hate is a well-maintained bolt pistol." The veteran sneers as he watches the red lights of the Tech Marine's bionic eye blink twice and then go out. Nearby, 2 titanic conflicts raged. Razak, bloody but unbowed, brought his power claw down on Thorax, energy crackling as the razor-sharp talons sliced through power armor and into the captain's flesh. Sensing an ancient foe nearby, Brother Toximus enters a psychotic rage, charging around the alien cactus plant and straight into the blue bulk of the Ultramarines dreadnought. The Chaos Dreadnought lands several blows with his power claw, but is unable to penetrate the armor of the dreadnought. In the center, the Nurglings continue their fight against the Assault Marines, despite many of their number being stomped into a vile goo. Brother Vorath charges into the Terminators, his power scourge taking down one Marine before it is torn clean off by the power fist of another. Uzon the Unclean tries once again to cast Machine Curse, this time on the Predator, but he is denied by the Codicil, who uses Destroy Power to wrench it from his mind forever. The Codicil then turns his attention to the veteran Chaos Marine, standing over the shattered corpse of Tech Marine Vortan, crushing him with the psychic energy of Carmine Assassin. Hate and a well-maintained bolt pistol will only get you so far, the Codicil quips. Then he looks round and realizes the servitor is his only company. It stares blankly at the Codicil before emitting a single sympathetic beep. The servitor moves the tarantula up behind the two battling dreadnoughts, its targeting coactator cycling through potential threats, awaiting the moment to unleash death. The duel between the Ultramarine dreadnought Autoritas and the Chaos dreadnought Toximus raged on, the ground trembling beneath their titanic clashes. Power fists and power claws smashed into reinforced adamantium, yet neither war machine were able to penetrate. Nearby, Captain Thorax and Chaos Lord Razek clashed in a brutal melee. With the Frenzon's effects now dissipated, and despite trading many blows, neither could overcome the other. They seemed an equal match. The Chaos Dreadnought Vorath fared better. With a monstrous swing of its torso, it caught an Ultramarine Terminator mid-strike. Ceramite screeched as the sheer bulk of the Dreadnought crushed into the Ultramarine. The Terminator struggled for a fraction of a second before his shattered armor buckled, his body reduced to a broken ruin. The traitorous war machine cast the shattered corpse aside, its vox grill belching a guttural, shrieking war cry. The assault marines piled blows into the remaining nurgling hordes and wiped them out. What had once been a pestilent horde was now a mass of shredded, oozing remains. The Predator, its targeting systems locking onto the advancing plague marines, fires all of its weapons. Las cannon beams and heavy bolter shells tear through the squad. 4 of the plague marines crumpled, their bloated bodies rupturing in grotesque explosions of rotting innards. The Codicil attempts Carmine Assassin on the Chaos Lord, but is instantly nullified. Magus Uzon utters a blasphemous chant, and with a searing tear through reality, the gate yawned open directly behind the Predator, its edges crackling with raw, archaic malice. The Codicil's fists clenched as he felt the war bleed into real space. "What heresy is this?" he growled. "What madness does this wretch weave?" Seeing their lord struggling with the Ultramarines' captain, the Plague Marines regroup to some nearby ruins and lob blight grenades at the dueling pair. They know Razek bears the mark of Nurgle, and so is immune to the toxic effects of the grenades. Noxious gases envelop the two of them, but Thorax's power armor and air filters successfully protects him. They continue their melee, with Thorax managing to overwhelm Razek, scoring a fatal wound with his power fist. Nearby, Chaos Dreadnought Toximus' frenzied rage overwhelms his Imperial counterpart, and he tears both arms off the Ultramarines' Dreadnought Autoritas, causing a secondary explosion that kills the Marine within and sends it staggering sideways, eventually collapsing into a clump of space cactus. Chaos Dreadnought Brother Vorath is also triumphant, using the twisted wreckage of his left arm to beat the remaining Terminator into a blue and red pulp. The surviving Bone Devil's Terminator sees the yawning gate in front of him and realizes Uzon the Unclean has gifted him a last chance to bring unholy retribution to the hated Imperial dogs. He charges through the pulsing portal and finds himself beside the Predator and tears off the heavy bolter sponsored with his power fist. The Codicil senses this new threat and once again sends forth his Carmine Assassin, crushing the traitor Marine within his ancient Terminator armor. Satisfied with the Terminator's final act, Uzon closes the gate and ponders his next move. Victory is within grasp of his pox-ridden hand, but it hangs by a thread. Sensing the growing threat, the Ultramarine assault squad executed a disciplined withdrawal, their jump packs flaring as they fell back into the ruined cathedral. To stand against the Chaos Dreadnought Vorath in open ground would be folly. The Predator rumbled into the heart of the war-torn city, its engines growling like a caged beast. Its turret locked onto the Chaos Dreadnought's exposed rear, twin link las cannons discharging blinding lances of energy. But fate, cruel and capricious, betrayed the strike. The beams veered wide, vaporizing chunks of rockcrete and sending molten slag cascading around the hulking war machine. Undeterred, the Predator's surviving heavy bolter adjusted its aim, the sponson whirring as it spewed a relentless hail of mass reactive rounds. 2 Plague Marines collapse in ruin, their Basilian bodies reduced to shattered armour and putrid stench. Captain Thorax, eyes burning with unshakable resolve, ignited his jump pack and soared into the fray. He crashed down amidst the last 2 Plague Marines, his power fist crackling with fury of the Emperor himself. The traitors barely had time to react before they were torn apart, their diseased husks pulverized in an instant. With the path now clear, the servitor processed new targeting data. Augmentic Limb's word is relayed a firing solution to the tarantula turret. The multi-melter flared, unleashing a torrent of superheated fury, boring through the Chaos Dreadnought Toximus's armor sarcophagus with ease. Warped ceramides boiled away in an instant. The traitorous warrior, entombed within, was consumed in a blinding inferno. What remained of the Chaos Dreadnought was little more than a steaming slag heap. Across the battlefield, the Codicil scanned for new threats, but found none within the reach of his wrath. His senses, however, flared at the stink of the warp thickening once more. The Chaos Magus raised his staff, his lips curling in a vile inclination, as another gate split open at the rear of the battlefield. The Codicil's jaw tightened. What new abomination does this sorcerer's filth summon? He extended his will, the circuitry of his psychic hood sparking as he attempted to nullify the warp's foul taint, but the gate resisted. The energies of the Immaterium surged unchecked, defying his power. Something was coming. Something worse. At the sound of last cannon fire behind him, Brother Vorath turns to face the Predator rumbling towards him and fires his heavy bolters, yet his shots go wide. Beyond the tank, Vorath can see Captain Thorax standing over the stinking remains of the Plague Marines, and howls in rage and frustration. And then he begins to laugh. At first, it is nothing more than a tiny titter from the Dreadnought's Vox speaker. It has been centuries since Vorath has had cause for mirth, and the sensation is strange, but it grows quickly into an unhinged roar as the Dreadnought remembers and realizes what Yuzon has done. Clever little Yuzon. For behind Captain Thorax is a gate, pulsating with energies of the warp. And from the gate steps 4 Bone Devil Terminators, their bone-white armor sullied by eons of filth and degeneracy. Reinforcements held back, at Yuzon's request, for an opportune moment such as this. No, you're dead. We killed you, Thorax stammers, his eyes wide in disbelief. One of the Terminators steps forward, the Reaper autocannon in his right hand glinting at the light of the distant sun. From within the ancient armor comes a voice as cold as the tomb.
That is what dead may never die.
The Reaper autocannon blazes into unholy life, and the sound of shells being disengorged from the barrels echoes amongst the ruins like the shrieking of demons. The sound of a second Reaper autocannon joins the cacophony, followed by the bark of combi bolters, only falling silent when the Ultramarines captain is reduced to a bloody smear across the battlefield. Lurking within the ruins nearby, Yuzon the Unclean cackles with glee as he watches Nurgle's plan unfold. Wow, that battle could have gone either way right to the very last turn. I'm glad we were fortunate enough to both pick Guerrilla War, as it did force us both to play very aggressively, which I think added to the tense outcome. Seeing both of our jump pack equipped commanders clash, as well as 2 of the Dreadnoughts, was great fun. I do half regret charging the veteran Chaos Marines with my Assault Marines, as they were outclassed and they paid for it. I suppose it was my best play though, as otherwise the veterans would have very likely sneaked into my back line and butchered my support units and Codicil. Also, whilst it was fun having all our armies compacted into just half the table, I did realise the mistake I had made in turn 1 when the cathedral ruins were bottlenecking my advance with the tarantula getting its line of sight blocked by my Dreddy. Stuart did play his psychic powers very well. He left me second guessing myself several times as to why he was placing Machine Curse onto lowly Assault Marines when much juicier Predator and Dreadnought targets were available. But then the gate suddenly appeared next to them and I knew he had outplayed me. Again with the gate appearing on his back line, I thought he was somehow trying to knock my captain off the back of the map or something. When the Chaos Terminators appeared directly behind my captain, I knew his fate was sealed. Next time Captain Thorax is getting into place of field. Carbine Assassin proved to be very powerful for a level 1 force power, and very useful for dealing with the enemy Terminators. All up, a fantastic game that I'm very glad we got to save in this battle report.
The Carrion Prince has been outplayed once again by those Codex-hugging Ultramarines. What an epic matchup, and well done to Will for playing such a great game and keeping me on my toes till the end. I felt all my card draws were very favourable. Guerrilla War suited Razek nicely, equipped as he was with jump pack and close combat gear. I got two of my favourite psychic powers, the Gate and Machine Curse. The Gate is very useful for a Chaos army as they are typically slow and struggle with manoeuvrability, while Machine Curse helps nullify the powerful weaponry that loyalist Space Marines can bring to the table. My strategy cards, Barrage and Reinforcements, are always handy too. Though Barrage missed this time, I was hoping it might take out Will's Librarian or his Tarantula lurking at the back. With Captain Thorax carving his way into my lines, I was really struggling to see what squad would be useful to bring back with reinforcements, as I didn't think anything would be able to stop him. Then Will's Librarian kindly took out my last Terminator, and I realized I could bring the squad back with reinforcements and gate them in right behind Thorax in the final turn, and hopefully save some face. Amazingly, it worked. Alas, the Bone Devils took too many losses and victory slipped through their bony fingers this time. Fair play to Will, it was an excellent game full of those classic 2nd edition moments that keeps us coming back to the game, even after 30 years. No doubt Chaos Lord Razek will soon return to seek his revenge against the Ultramarines.
Please watch out for the upcoming Hero Hammer Fanzine Edition 4 from Crown of Command. Hero Hammer is a tribute to classic White Dwarf and GW's retro games from the 90s. Please check out their past 3 issues with a link in the show notes for lots of nostalgia goodness. The Sustained Fire annual event has had a change of venue, now located at the Northgate Community Hall in Brisbane, Australia. The last 2 years have been excellent, full of second ed fanatics, lovely retro armies, and space cacti galore. If you plan to come and join in the fun, contact us on the email in the show notes. The Sustained Fire monthly jam has also had a venue change to the Logan Hyperdome Library in Brisbane, Australia. We meet every 4 weeks for a game. If you are new to 2nd edition or a veteran, come along and join in. We recently played a Heretic 2025 mass tank battle event, similar to the original Heretic battle report in White Dwarf 187. Great fun, but that's a story for another time. Thanks for watching.